Good evening. I know Tyler has said it over and over again at this point, but we really are so grateful that you're here. My name is Heather Patterson, and I am proud to serve as a board member for the KLD Alzheimer's Foundation and to co-chair this gala for the 7th year now. Tonight, I wanted a chance to tell you a little bit about my story, about why the KLD Alzheimer's Foundation is so important to me. And I know for a lot of you in the room, you have a story that mirrors my own. My first experience with Alzheimer's was in 1994. It was Christmas, and my now husband and I had just gotten engaged, and I was going to meet his grandparents from Iowa for the first time. I had heard lots about them over the last year, and I knew that his grandmother had Alzheimer's. I was only 19 years old at the time, and I wasn't even really sure how to pronounce it, let alone what it meant. But I was sure it was something that happens when someone gets really, really old. I'll never forget meeting Grandma Cook for the first time. Brett met me at the door and took me downstairs to introduce me. And I'll never forget laying eyes on her. What I had planned to encounter was just the opposite. She wasn't really, really old. In fact, she looked so young. I would later come to learn that she was diagnosed with younger onset Alzheimer's at the age of 62. I remember leaving that weekend with a profound sense of sadness, knowing that for her husband, for my mother-in-law, the clock was ticking. Just as Brett and I were entering this time of planning for a wedding, counting down to what would be one of the happiest days of our lives, just couldn't get past that feeling that they were also counting. Good days and bad days, all being weighed against this total number that was a mystery, but counting nonetheless. In March of 1996, just 6 months before Brett and I got married, Norma Cook lost her fight with Alzheimer's. My grandma Marguerite meant the world to me. I was in first grade when my grandpa died, leaving her a house and 13 acres to take care of. Meanwhile, my mom was a single mom raising 3 little girls. And so they joined forces and we moved in with her. And looking back, I couldn't have been luckier. My grandma was class. You never saw her when she wasn't dressed to perfection. She kept a perfect home, even in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with 5 girls. It was spotless. She was the ultimate hostess. Her attention to detail created such a sense of intention, and that intention made you feel loved. She was a woman of immense faith. I got up every day to get ready for school while she sat at the kitchen table, drinking her coffee and reading her Bible, followed by a game of Yahtzee that she would play against herself. And surprise, she always won. I don't know if you could have found someone that knew her that would have a bad word to say about her. She loved well, and she was well loved. In 2012, after a series of many strokes, my grandma was diagnosed with vascular dementia. And once again, our family started the clock. If you've loved someone with Alzheimer's or dementia, you know exactly what I mean. You know what it's like. You're trying to grab on, to hold on to the good months, the good weeks, the good days. That one good hour where I was sure she knew who I was. It's like you're trying to count up, but at the same time, you know you're counting down. After my grandma's diagnosis, she changed. She became mean, even violent at times. She would say curse words we had no idea how she'd learned. Pretty sure she made up a few new ones herself. Because of dementia, my grandma wasn't able to leave this world with the same grace and dignity that she had lived her life. And at some point, the ticking of that countdown gets so loud, you just wish you could speed it up. My grandma was transferred from the nursing home to the hospital as it became apparent that we were in her last few days. My entire family had gathered. We had spent the whole day surrounding her, love, telling stories, laughing, crying. I had finally convinced them to all go home and to let me take the night shift. If you know my family, you know we're a lot. And I was sure that my grandma, and more importantly, the hospital staff, would welcome the break. A few hours after they had all left, it became clear that we were at the end. I climbed into bed with her, and I held her, and I told her everything I needed to say. And then I'd count the seconds between her breaths until I didn't stop counting. On November 13th, 2017, my sweet grandma Marguerite Wilson lost her fight with dementia. In 2020, my father-in-law Ken was diagnosed with frontal lobe dementia. And we find ourselves right back here again. Except this time the difference, it's my kids that are counting. They're counting the good visits, the good holidays. And they also understand that they're counting down. My mother-in-law lost her mom to Alzheimer's. And now she'll lose her husband. Over the years and throughout tonight, you've heard us use the phrase, join the fight. But I guess what I'm really here to ask you tonight is to join my fight. Join my family. Join us to end this terrible disease once and for all. And I know for all of you in the room tonight that find yourselves right here, you're begging of us to do the same. Join my fight. You see, I'm not waiting for the next fight to start. I can't. It was our grandparents, our parents. Next generation's mine. I can't sit back and merely wish that this script would be changed for my own kids. I have to fight it. I have to fight it for them now. There's no time to wait. We are closer than ever. I am confident that in my generation's lifetime, we can find a treatment and a cure for Alzheimer's if we can put the resources into the hands of those who have devoted their life's work to this battle. Just don't want it to come too late for any of us. I don't want it to come too late for me. So that one day, another family won't have to. But so that one day, my kids won't have to. Join me in the fight against Alzheimer's.